So this video will be a little bit heavy. I'm going to walk you through my entire story, my struggle, my battle with depression, because I went through this before I started on this journey. And chances are, if you've seen me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, you've seen what I am now. There's a part of me that you haven't seen, and there's a part I want to talk about. And the reason I want to talk about it is not just because I want to talk about it. It's because I think you will actually learn a lot from this. You, if you've gone through this in the past, may resonate with this. If you're yet to go through it, maybe you're better equipped to go through it. And because a lot of our students are in a very similar state, maybe not as down and, as far gone as I may have been, but pretty down. Okay. So this is why it's important. A lot of students we have in our program are miserable. Like, I mean, miserable, right? They hate getting up in the morning. They fall into self-sabotaging sprees. And, this behavior is not going to make it for you. So you need to cut this behavior. You need to figure out why are you doing all these things first. And then you need to start correcting them. And you might not figure out the exact reason, but you need to start to try to understand it. Because if you just try and put a band-aid over this, all right, it's not going to work. Okay. So let's get into it. So that's young Adam on the left. All right, I'm going to talk about him in a second. Current Adam is on the right. Just a couple of recent photos to show where I'm at, right? At bottom right-hand corner, that's me speaking at a mastermind event where students attended, never thought I would have done that. Then there's a photo of me and my mom having a glass of wine together, right? Giving back to her, giving her holidays, trips, all that good stuff. There's a photo of me after I finished my first marathon, right? With my mom and my brother. I should have kept that part in. That's better than just looking at me. And then there's a photo of me just in a nice hotel, right? A very nice hotel. And, this photo really stood out to me, right? Because I've got a MacBook, which is obviously, a couple thousand. I've got a Remarkable, which is a fucking $500 notepad. And I'm wearing a Rolex, right? It's a lot of material things. And I don't want to stress that. But those material things are because of the inner work. They're because of the inner journey that I went on. Okay. So you know where I'm currently at. I've got freedom. So young Adam, if you look at that photo, that's probably when I'm 16 or 17. So if you don't want to know my whole story, you can click away from this video. I don't feel like everyone needs to watch this. Some of you will want to watch this and will need to watch this. Okay. I'm going to go a little bit deeper here. I'm going to be very vulnerable. I'm going to open up to you on a level that I've probably never opened up publicly ever before. So the main message, if you decide that you don't want to watch all this, completely cool. I don't take offense. Is I want you to understand that if you're going through anything deep, dark, you have depressive thoughts, I want you to realize, as I mentioned before, that you need to take stock of that. Don't just say, oh, it is what it is, work harder. No, like, take fucking stock of it, right? Because if you put a Band-Aid over it, nothing will fucking work. Nothing will heal that. Right? There's a lot of guys online right now saying, hey, depression it's not real, la 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 la. It doesn't matter what you think about that. If you know you have something that is just eating you up alive, you do need to work on that. You need to work on it. Okay. So, right, how did we get here? So at that point in my life, that's when I had cystic acne. That actually wasn't the worst. That's when I was actually comfortable enough to take photos and take a selfie. There was a period where I wouldn't do that for at least a year. Like, I was literally scared to look in the mirror. Okay. So before that time period, I was always very shy, just very shy as a kid. And for a long time, I just thought that's who I am. I'm always going to be this way. It is what it is. When I really look at it, it's because I was very insecure. I wasn't happy with how I looked. I wasn't happy with my appearance, how confident I was. And because of that, that just made me less confident, right? We looked at this earlier in some of the mindset training, how it's all a feedback loop. So when you start going down negative, it can keep going negative and negative, right? So cystic acne, you can see it on my face. You would notice it, right? But at the same time, you would be able to look past that. Whereas I thought at that time in my life, I genuinely believed everybody was staring at me. I believed everybody thought I looked horrible, disgusting, repulsive. like my brain, my thought process was incredibly negative. This then led to a second issue with my skin. You'll notice my lips in that photo. I was on this medication called Accutane. Some of you might have had it or heard of it. It helps with acne. It really, really helped, as you can see on my face. Like, I don't have these cysts anymore. I have the scar tissue from the cysts, but I don't have cysts. And yeah, it worked. But the side effect was that it dried out your skin, specifically your lips, and it developed into this weird, crazy issue where the skin on my lips wouldn't really grow properly for another year. So, all in all, I was in this period for 2 years. So, I had 2 full years of being really depressed. I mean, I gave up on my friends. All right. I remember this one time vividly. It was like a Saturday night. I'm 17 and I'm laying in bed watching Netflix because I am down, I am deep, deep down. And my friends literally call over to the house because I was just ignoring the group chat. And they're like, come out, man. Like, what are you doing sitting here? And at the time, I didn't even do that. Like, I couldn't even face to get up and go out. Like, it was bad, bad stuff. So in this journey, because I was in school and I was always around people, I felt like the only route was a very bad route. So, and again, even saying this feels kind of weird. I've only said this a few times to a few people, but yeah, I genuinely thought I would kill myself. Um, yeah, it's weird to say. Yeah, I thought I would kill myself because I thought there was no way, there was no future where I could be happy. And that's a really, really scary thought. Like, I literally thought that I could never experience happiness, thought I could never be confident, that I could never be proud of any achievements to do great things. I genuinely thought I will always, always be depressed. I will be always unhappy. I'll never be loved. That was my thought process. And that's crazy, right? For me to say that. And maybe you have felt this. Maybe you felt that same way. And it's amazing looking back to see how negative you can go. If you don't know this stuff that we've talked about, right? Your identity, your beliefs, your thought processes. It's crazy how dark you can go. Because I had a loving family. I had a brother and a sister that were always really fucking nice to me. I had friends, right? I had all the things to make a very happy life. My family weren't broke, right? Like, we always had enough food on the table. You get me? Like, I had so many good things, so many good things. And all I could think about was, I am destined to never be happy. It was my thought process every day. Wake up unhappy. I'm never going to be happy. Now, the reason I'm telling you all this is so that you know the depth. All right. It wasn't that I just had a couple of spots and I thought, oh, I don't look too good today. No, like, I wanted to kill myself. That's literally how I thought. So where it changed for me was there was a couple of moments. So there was a moment when I went to my doctor and, I used to go to him very often. And he said, yeah, I'll prescribe you antidepressants. So that was the first moment where I realized, okay, I need to change this. So he said that to me, and I said, no, I'm not going to take those because I knew that was not the answer. And I knew all that would do would just dull my brain. It would bring me down, or maybe it would falsely bring me up, but it wouldn't solve the problem. I knew the problem was deeper than just a couple of pills. So I said, no, I'm not going to take those. So that was first point. The second point, and this is where it really changed, was I went to a appointment for like a skin doctor. Can't think of the name, for a skin doctor. And I come out of the appointment and I was with my mother. I'm in the car. She's driving. I'm sitting in the passenger seat. And the sun is just beaming in the car window. Like, I even feel emotional just saying this. It's fucking weird. The sun is beaming in the window and it's like in my eyes, when the sun is like literally in your eyes. And I literally just think to myself, the only reason I am so unhappy and so depressed is because of me. And this was a crazy moment. I mean, my entire world fucking changed. because I realized here I am, I'm fucking 17, sitting in the car with my mom. She just drove me here. She, is so helpful. She's so emotionally supportive. And all I can think about is poor me. Like, so, so self-obsessed. And in that moment, even though I realized, fuck, this is all me, I got this crazy wave of joy, this crazy wave of joy that I'm going to change. It was insane. I cannot describe it. And hopefully I'm doing an okay job at this. But I literally couldn't describe. I went from, I want to kill myself, to, oh my God, I am the fucking problem, to, I'm the only one that can fix this. And now I know the answer. I have to change my life drastically, radically. I've got to change everything about who I am, what I think, what I believe, and what I do every fucking day. And that's exactly what I did. I went on this extreme journey, right? And the reason I say extreme is because I say this and most people are like, why the fuck would you do all that? This is just an example, okay? You don't need to do any of these things if you fix your mindset. These were just physical things I did that helped me fix my mindset. So cold showers every day. If you live in Ireland, it's already pretty cold. So doing cold showers every day is not fun. Cold showers every day. No FAP, no pornography. Maybe you've heard of this, maybe you haven't. This, one of the biggest things I think specifically guys, because more guys struggle with this, you need to stop doing this, okay? I could make a whole separate video on this, but that's something I did. I realized, okay, I'm addicted to pornography. That's clearly not making me any happier because it's completely fucking up my worldview of women, but it's also fucking up my self-identity and how I feel about myself. Because every time I do it, I feel miserable. Every time I do it, I feel like if somebody had saw me do this, I would be disgusted. So I decided, why the fuck am I doing that? That's completely ridiculous. So I stopped doing that. Really hard to break that habit, but I did it. Quit for an entire year straight. I remember it very clearly. Loads of other things. Started training much harder at the gym, started cleaning up my diet, stopped binge watching YouTube, Netflix, all of that. Started listening to podcasts, self-improvement, reading books about personal development. I mean, anything you can think of, I did it. Meditated, yoga, spirituality, the whole 9 yards. And it worked. It worked really, really well. I mean, in 1 year, I was unrecognizable. Like literally, I would be at a family event. We'd have them maybe 3, 4 times a year. And I remember being at a family event and people just could feel it. People could feel it. They could feel my confident energy. They could feel that I had become a new person. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And that only changed because I decided to change. This is the message of this video. You will only change when you decide you will change. Because if nothing changes, then nothing will change. So hopefully you have not had this same experience as me. Hopefully you'll never have this. But there's something beautiful about an experience like this. When you get an experience like this and you go so low, so deep, so dark, your brain does everything in its power to never go there again. Never. You never want to go there again. You know how scary and how painful that experience is. So there you have it, folks. That is a quick recap of that story. I hope you really actually got some value from this, because I think if I had heard more people talk about this when I went through it, I would realize that there's a way out of it. Whereas during the time, for me anyway, I would just see other people online and they looked happy. I would see people I went to school with and they were happy, they were confident. And I used to just always think to myself, some people just get dealt this hand. Some people just get dealt this shitty hand and they have to go through it. Some people don't. And those people have their own struggles, of course. I'm not taking away from that. But if you've had this struggle, hopefully you've learned from it. And if this resonates with you right now, and some of the stuff I've told you like hits a nerve with you, good. Because you'll have the realizations I had. You'll have those moments where you realize it's all on you. And that realization is scary, but it's also beautiful, because everything in your life is your fault. all the good things, all the bad things. So you have full control. How empowering is that? You have full control.